Good morning. I'm so pleased y'all are here because everybody who's not here, we know that they're there, and that's good that they're there too. But we were looking a little underpopulated this morning, so you've done a great job to remedy that in the last 3 minutes. Thanks so much. There's been an enormous increase in public media and conversation use of two words, unthinkable and unimaginable. Both of them are distinctly unhelpful. If something is described as unthinkable, you are being invited not to think. Wildfires, illegal deportations, women dying from lack of health care because their doctors are afraid of being arrested, these things are not unthinkable. They are happening right now. Unimaginable, it's been said that every failure is a failure of the imagination. Everything that exists, from the pews that you're sitting on to the microphone I'm speaking into, was once just an idea in someone's head. We imagine our reality into being. When I'm teaching yoga, I like to conclude the session with a deep relaxation and then a short meditation. I prompt my students to relax each part of the body in a sequence. Sometimes I start with relaxed toes and then guide their attention up to their face. Sometimes I start with relaxed scalp and guide their attention down to their feet. It might depend on if I'm doing yoga with an individual or with a class. It can depend on if we conclude the practice sitting or lying down. Giving yourself permission to relax is a formal practice we can all take for ourselves anytime. Relaxing your body can help you relax your mind. Guided relaxation is a helpful tool for beginning meditation. By giving your mind one specific thought, relax shoulders, you can allow yourself to bring your focus into something hopefully very simple and easy to do. When someone shares with me that they just can't meditate, that their mind is never totally quiet, I reflect to them that no one's mind is ever totally quiet. Minds think the way that lungs breathe and hearts beat. That's what they're designed to do. So just noticing that you're having thoughts and then letting them go. More thoughts come in, more thoughts leave. Allowing yourself to notice that you are thinking can be very meditative. So when you give yourself some time to relax and you notice that you are thinking, it can be a wonderful moment to notice what you are thinking. In her book, Imaginable, Jane McGonigal asks that we take on the task of truly reimagining the world the way we'd like it to be. Give yourself space for some delicious fantasies about turning freeways into parks, sorry, take that the other direction. About free, clean energy, about anything that you think would be good. So our theme this month is freedom, and I'm inviting you to join the Imaginary Liberation Front. When you open your own mind, you can help to open the minds of everyone else around you. Nothing is unthinkable or unimaginable. Allow yourself to relax and notice what your thoughts reflect. Imagine what it'd be like if your thoughts created the world that you want to see. Come, let us worship together. Reverend Ford will now light the chalice.
This morning, we kindle the chalice as a symbol of so many things. We recall our personal joys and sorrows, individual flames brought here today, brought together. We recall all those hearts gathered in the 1,000 and more congregations within our tradition across this continent at roughly this hour. So many more individual flames joined as one. We recall the hurt world and the specifics of it, Gaza, Palestine, Israel, war, hunger, so many flames. We remember the immigration raids around our country, but also specifically here in the greater Los Angeles area, the outrage of the populace, acts of civil disobedience, confrontations, flames. The attacks on our LGBTQI communities and the many responses, especially the celebratory responses of this month of this day. I believe half of us are doing that right this minute. Flames, each one of them. To begin a litany of fire, flames, small and large. In the Christian tradition today is Pentecost, another celebration of flames. Fires of discernment, holy, clarifying, guiding. May this hour be such a flame. I need a 10-year-old to help me. Or a grown-up. Sometimes alone, almost always together, the flame. And with that, a golden morning.
Please rise in body or in spirit for our first hymn, Gray Hymnal number 44. We sing of golden mornings. If you don't have a hymnal, words will be up on the top. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, thus do we covenant with each other. El amor es la esencia de esta iglesia, buscar la verdad es su sacramento, y el servicio es la oración. Vivir juntos en paz, buscar enconocimiento en la libertad, servir a la humanidad en comunión, así es como convenimos unos a otros. Good morning, and welcome to the Santa Monica Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm Judith Martin Straw. I'm your worship associate for today. If this is your first visit, or you've been a member of the congregation for years, we're glad to have you with us this morning. While our minister, Reverend Jeremiah Callanday, is attending the Pride March this morning, we are honored to have as our guest the Reverend James Ishmael Ford. Reverend Ford is both a Unitarian Universalist minister and a Zen priest, and he will be sharing with us some thoughts on spirituality at the end of religion. After the service, we'll be offering Reverend James's new book, Zen at the End of Religion, an introduction for the curious, the skeptical, and the spiritual but not religious, as a mini fundraiser for the church. So the book will be available for $20. We'll be right outside on the patio. Cash or check made out to the church, and the church will receive half of the proceeds. James will stay on to sign copies if you would like. We acknowledge that we stand on the unceded land of the Tongva, Chumash, and other native tribes whose people are still with us, working for justice and for the environment. I heard a lovely poem by Joy Harjo the other day where she offers a land acknowledgement. Joy Harjo is a Native American who was our poet laureate. And she starts out saying, "We'd like to thank the deer and the geese." It's a great poem. It goes from there. If you have donations for the Westside Food Bank, you can bring them forward now or just raise your hand and kids will come and get them. Not a whole lot of kids this morning, but we are going to have a time for all ages. So if people of all ages would like to come and join me on the step, we will do that. Let's collect those donations. Thank you so much. Since Jessica is at the Pride Parade, our Director of Religious Education is marching today, so she was kind enough to leave me a story to share. I was sharing with Reverend Ford earlier, Zen has so many great stories, and they're all kind of designed to be baffling, so I thought that wasn't really the direction to go for Time for All Ages. Those are stories for adults who want to really ponder things for a good half an hour or so. Great. So this is a gently titled The Feast, and it's a folk tale from a number of different traditions. One day, Fox invites Stork, Bear, Wolf, and Monkey to dinner. Fox spends the whole day cooking, making a wonderful soup that is served in big, wide bowls. Most of them eat until they are full, thanking Fox for the fine meal. But when Stork tries to eat, he can't get any of the soup. And he goes away frustrated and hungry. Stork then decides that he will invite Fox, Woodpecker, Monkey, and Pigeon to dinner and makes a wonderful stew, which is served in tall, fluted glasses. When Fox tries to lap up the food, all they can do is lick the top of the glass. And they go away frustrated and hungry. Monkey watches these two dinners and decides to have their own dinner party, inviting each one to bring their favorite plate, bowl, or cup to eat from. Stay tuned. When guests arrive, Monkey fills each person's dish, and everyone gets to eat and enjoy the company of their friends just the way that they prefer. So this story is a wonderful reminder to think about inclusion, about how sometimes it needs a little pre-planning and a little thinking ahead to make sure that everyone's needs are getting met. And it's also a nice reminder that our way of enjoying something isn't always everyone else's way of enjoying something. So in the weeks and days ahead, may all of us work just a little harder to remember that having things that we can access is the way we can have more things we can enjoy. So with that, we will sing you off to the cottage. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you as you go on your way. Go now in peace, go now in peace. After removing the pen from my hair, a few announcements for the morning. First of all, please remember to silence your cell phones. It's always nicer when we don't get interrupted. The 25-26 Budget Town Hall will be on Zoom on Monday, June 9th. Our congregational annual meeting will be on Sunday, June 29th, where we will be looking to approve the budget for 25-26. The upcoming year has some challenging components. We have not had a search for a permanent minister since 2009. Our children and youth program is expanding, and this is a deficit budget, so perhaps you'll be inspired to help us get closer to the mark. If you're interested in Zooming with us on the 9th and you would like to get the meeting link, please email Rebecca Crawford at treasurer@uusm.org. Children of UU Santa Monica are invited to contribute an exhibition of their artwork in Forbes Hall for the art wall during the months of July and August. Deadline for submissions is Sunday, June 15th. Please contact the Art Wall Committee or our DRE, Jessica Tenhave Place, for more information. Bring in your monthly pet food donations. Next week, June 15th, our animal ministry group invites you to share with the LA Animal Services Pet Food Pantry in assisting low-income families and individuals to take care of their animal companions. This month only, please leave donations in the container marked Animal Ministry Pet Food Foundations in the foyer next to the food donations barrel. So that's the room off to the side as we come in, and there will be a special container marked for that. Usually we have someone personally able to receive the donations. That's not going to happen this month, so. Special treat, book lovers come together for a tale that speaks to anyone who's ever been searching. We'll be discussing the novel Search by Michelle Hunovan on July 12th at 10:30 in Forbes Hall. This is not a UUA common read. It's just a novel that we thought would be fun to talk about. And while she is not able to attend on the 12th, the author will be joining us for a Zoom call later in the month. So there will only be 2 discussions. There'll be one live Saturday morning, July 12th, and then Zoom date to be announced, but the author will be joining us for the Zoom meeting. Michelle is a longtime Unitarian Universalist and is a frequent speaker over at First Unitarian downtown. Camp de Veneville Pines update. For more than 10 years, the congregation has had the annual weekend during the 2nd or 3rd week of September. For 2025, we are looking at moving to September 26th or October 3rd. We're also discussing the possibility of partnering for the weekend with Chalice UU of Newbury Park, and there will be more info on that as soon as it's available, but if you prefer one of those weekends, try to let us know. There was such a positive response to our Build Your Own Theology service last week, we're looking to offer another Build Your Own Theology class. It won't be starting right away. It will be at least a couple months and maybe a couple months more than that. But if you're interested, let us know. We do want to make sure that everybody can get connected, and that will help us to set a date for the class to begin. There's always so much going on. Please read the newsletter, check the website, check in with each other. And now is our moment to check in with each other. So take a moment to greet your neighbors. Just a moment to say hello, find out what's going on with the people around you, and when the piano music starts, it will be time for us to return to our seats. So take a moment and say hello. It's time now for music for the morning. If we can get back to our seats. We have Keon, our loved tenor, and Anthony Hernandez, our guest musician this morning for Music for the Morning.
When I think of all the times the world was ours for dreaming, when I think of all the times the earth seemed like our home, every heart alive with its own longing, every future we could ever hope to hold. All the time our laughter rang in summer, all the times the river sang our tune. Was there already sadness in the sunlight? Some stormy story waiting to be told? Where, oh, where has the innocence gone? Where, oh, where has it gone? Rains rolling down wash away my memory. Where, oh, where has it gone? When I think of all the joys, the wonders we remember, all the treasures we believed we'd never ever lose, too many days gone by without their meaning, too many darkened hours without their peace. Where, oh, where has the innocence gone? Where, oh, where has it gone? Vows we once swore, now it's just this letting go. Where, oh, where has it gone? Where, oh, where has the innocence gone? Where, oh, where has it gone? Rains rolling down wash away my memory. Where, oh, where has it gone?
Now we have a moment for joys and sorrows, and we have some difficult sorrows to share this week. Charles Haskell was admitted to St. John's for an emergency surgery 2 weeks ago, and he's having a very difficult recovery. He is now home and would welcome messages or cards as he recuperates, although no visitors at this time. While Charles has done so much to share his love of photography with us, I wanted to just offer, if you have a picture of something beautiful, a photograph that would really help to open one's eyes, you might want to email that to Charles. I'm sure he would appreciate some photography from the community right now. Let us hold Charles and Karen and all those who know them and love them in our prayers and in the light of our beloved community. Johnny Canales, who many of you have seen at this very pulpit doing this very job of worship associate, received the tragic news that his 23-year-old son, Jonathan, died in an automobile accident while visiting in Oregon this past week. Johnny has been hospitalized for care during the same period, and he and his family welcome being held in the prayers and the light of beloved community. We wish Johnny a full and complete recovery and grieve with his family this time of profound loss. Many of you know Johnny is someone who loves the Beatles, and it just happens that we will have some Beatles music later, so we're going to offer that to Johnny and his family. Reverend Ford will take us into meditation.
In moments like this, where there's so many things that can immediately grab our hearts and make us wonder, there are as well, of course, joys seeping into this, but the sorrows might be right up front. Might think about this. What is it all about? Where does it go? What do we do with it? It brings to mind for me one of those stories about Gautama Siddhartha, one of the stories that appear to be a true recollection of the life of the person we call the Buddha. It's recorded as a sutta, the threads of the teaching, in which he is walking with his young cousin and attendant Ananda, and they're simply walking along, and Ananda, who has been studying with his elder uncle for many years at this point, says, "Sir, I've come to realize that after all this practice and this companionship through sorrow and joy, that actually it's friendship that's half of this spiritual life." And they continued walking for a little while, and finally the Buddha stops and says, "Dear one, in fact, if you look at the whole of our path, if you look at it deeply, you'll realize friendship is the whole of the spiritual life." A few moments, heartbeats really, to sit together, to contemplate, to reflect, to meditate, if you will, to pray. For a text today, we'll draw from a book by James Ishmael Ford. I have preached here since my retirement about 10 years ago, I think about 6 times. And as I go back and I look at what I've said here, I've worked through several of my books, and you may have heard a version of this before, and if so, I apologize. But it becomes the thread both of the book and of this reflection for today. So, 100,000 years ago, perhaps 200,000, maybe it was 1,000,000, possibly even longer ago. No one remembers precisely, although we know it was in Africa, probably near the Great Rift. A human being woke up. We don't know her name, but she is our common ancestor. We all live within her lineage. In my dreaming, she looked up from her work. Perhaps she was tending a child. Maybe she was cooking a meal. It was something to do with the busy of our lives. She paused and she looked up from her work, and at that moment, the morning star kissed the moon, and the world changed. Everything was the same, and yet it changed. Everything was the same, and yet now it was all new. She saw we were all of us, humans and plants and animals, and the dirt under our feet and the stars above us, intimate. More intimate than words can convey, although the poets sometimes come close. The major projects of those aspects we call cultures, that we in our cultures call religions, are mostly about cultural cohesion, definition, boundaries. But at the same time, there has always been that aspect of religion concerned with the deep. Call it mystical, call it the spiritual within religion. It is as natural can be, common, perennial, intimate human encounter. It is our ancient human awakening into intimacy. It's always something deeply personal while always inescapably part of the web of relationships. Not exactly one, not precisely two. But really, it's not all that complicated. It's all about intimacy, friendship, intimacy. Now, are we ready to do the full sermon? Yeah. We've jiggled the service a little bit. Thanks. You may have noticed these days the whole idea of institutional religions is being challenged. Certainly here in the United States, certainly in most of what we call the global north. Over the coming decades of the 21st century, much of what in America has been called mainline Protestantism will at the very least be radically reduced. Many religious institutions hang by a thread. Some venerable denominations may fully disappear this century. Even the Christian sects in this country that are growing are in fact simply winning the larger percentage of a shrinking demographic. Today, the fastest growing demographic in the United States is none, as in none of the above. For some nuns, the whole idea of religions is nothing but bad news. And the sooner we all outgrow them, the better. For some, too much lingering hurt from too much abuse to give religions any time. For some, they've just drifted away from the religions they grew up in. There's no great energy one way or another. Religious claims on the imagination and heart are loosening and often have been lost entirely, which invites a pause. That word religion is a many-splendored term, so a precise definition is elusive. For many, it is the most obvious example of what's wrong in our culture, how people are controlled. For others, it's that powerful thing which hurts but is otherwise irrelevant. And there is much more to what religion has been and is and might yet be. I believe a functional definition is that religion is traditionally that part of a culture concerned with meaning and purpose. I'll repeat. Religion is mostly that part of a culture concerned with meaning and purpose. In cultures identified with one religion in particular, the task of that religion is to establish one's place in the culture through various rites of recognition. There are at least vestiges of this sense in all modern major religions. It is in the sense of defining who is in and who is out, where much of the hurt people experience happens. This is also where people are increasingly seeing irrelevance. In a global context, it all looks pretty parochial. At the same time, among the nuns, there are a lot of people who sense there is within religions, or maybe simply aligned with religions, something that speaks to deep matters within human hearts. It is that sense of meaning and purpose which is the original work of religion. This sense is mainly captured today in the phrase spiritual but not religious. Spirituality is where people find the why of our lives. The big why with that capital W. Spiritual is, of course, a slippery term as well, perhaps even more vague than religion, which can at least be identified by its institutions. Spirituality and spirit seem flighty, skittish, ready in a moment to disappear in a flutter of wings. That why, that capital W, why, can be ephemeral. And at the same time, it can be the most important thing in our lives. Reasonably, perhaps etymologically, spiritual means breath. And spirituality is concerned with those parts of religions that seem to enliven us. Spiritual is evocative, but also elusive. It is fair to say spirituality is about those aspects of our lives that bring meaning and depth to who we are and how we live. As I dig deeper into spiritual but not religious, I see three different groupings for whom the term fits. No doubt there are further nuances, but these seem particularly to the point. They are all united in suspicion of religious institutions, whether church or temple or mosque, but each has differing ways of engaging what that enlivening, that spiritual might mean. The first group is deeply suspicious of religious institutions, but they are interested in various spiritual claims, especially as began to coalesce in the latter 20th century as New Age. This includes interest in alternative states of consciousness and alternative approaches to spirituality, often including a focus on alternative approaches to health. They also tend to be wildly eclectic. The second group brings that suspicion of religious institutions as well, but they are drawn to the world's mystical traditions. Their pursuit mostly focuses on reading, sometimes quite widely. They see wisdom that appears to have some commonalities in Buddhism, early Taoist literature, the Advaita forms of Hinduism, among Muslim Sufis within medieval Hasidic Judaism and the Kabbalists, as well as in the writings of 4th and 5th century Christian desert fathers and mothers, and many mystical writers following, to begin a very long list. In this broad-ranging mystical interest, they also are eclectic. This group is frequently, maybe usually concerned with finding spirituality as an underlying unity in religion. So their eclecticism often becomes syncretistic. Some of these touch that matter of our ancient ancestor, the one who looked up and saw the moon and the morning star kissing, who woke up and resolved the burning question of why. The third group also brings that suspicion of religious institutions. This suspicion of institutions is the negative through line of the spiritual, but not religious. But here it also comes with the positive sense there are currents in the old religions as religions that can open hearts and minds in powerful and transformative ways. They read the same books as the second group, and they have intimations there may be some kind of perennial truth to be found. What distinguishes them from the second group is that they often feel driven to know what those mystics speak of for themselves. They want to understand that why. They want to drink from the ancient well and know for themselves whether the waters are cool or warm. They not only study religions and their various spiritual practices, but they seek spiritual disciplines like practices of prayer and meditation. They also share that intimation of some kind of deep unity, a sense that we're all taking different paths, but that maybe we're ascending some same mountain. Some of these might joke within their interest in spiritual disciplines that they're religious but not spiritual. And in all this, they share that eclectic and often syncretistic sense. Now, each of these groupings overlap to one degree or another. And especially within the second and third groups are people who cherish the gifts brought to us by modern science. It can even be part of what shook them loose from their native religions. If they see any kind of perennial wisdom, mainly they intuit it to probably be some form of a naturalistic perennialism. The perennial here is understood as some heart wisdom common to our humanity, but often as some natural thing where probably no specific tradition could get it entirely right. It is both a critical approach and an approach that can be humble and deeply curious. There are many, and I count myself among these, who intuit some deep spiritual calling, but at the same time see it all occurring within a broad and generously understood natural world. Human religious institutions are where the teachings tend to reside. This even seems important. Institutions are the repositories of the stories, the traditions, the disciplines, and they are subject to all the same limitations of any other natural thing. Religious institutions are all flawed, and too often the needs of the institution obscure or even perversely hide that spiritual insight. That story about our first ancestor, the details come from the dream time. But awakening, that is our common inheritance as human beings, it comes to us in dreams. It comes to us in the waking night. It comes to us in the moment. This moment. It is the great gift. What it means has been reflected on for lifetimes. The most important thing has been our own understanding. yours, mine. But a second question has been, how does this happen? How do we best understand it? Out of this, we have told ourselves stories. These stories become the foundation points of many religions, or at least it seems like that. People have approached the matter in many different ways. In the West, Plato and Aristotle both wrestled with the questions of a possible perennial wisdom, as have many since. In the 15th century, Marsilio Ficino argued there was an underlying unity to the world's religions. One of his students coined a term for this, the philosophia perennis, the perennial philosophy. People have argued for some kind of perennialism ever since. At this point in my life, the issue is this. While I do believe in a form of religious perennialism, it is what I see as the spiritual within religion, and what I'm calling a naturalistic perennialism. I believe there are currents of religion that are rooted in our biology. And as something natural, it is something people can find within all religions. And actually, I find it at the heart birthing of all religions. While I hope it would therefore be obvious this deep current should be available without any religion at all. It comes with our birthing into the human world. There are a number of these universal currents. Some go toward ethics, what I see as an intimate sense of the fair, a sense that things should be harmonious. What is good for the goose is good for the gander, kind of proto-morality. This is confusingly coupled with a deeply held desire to get one up, and with that, an inclination to cheat. I believe pretty much all religious ethics arise out of these two things existing in tension. Rather more important is what rests at the heart of the mystical, and by mystical I mean quite narrowly, an apprehension of a root to all our individual consciousnesses. And this is something important. It is this intuition that guides our actions. It is what inspires our personal ethics. It is what inspires us to reach out for another. It is why we care for those who are not immediately related to us. Because we see deeply and truly we are all of us related. The unpacking of that is the work of a lifetime. And there's another thing about this naturalistic perennialism relevant to this reflection. It appears the universal needs grounding. Our wisdom, our wise heart appears only ever encountered within some specific. So there is no enlightenment. There is only our personal encounter with intimacy, that friendship. And at the same time, we are constantly in danger of following our own appetites. That getting a personal edge, even when we know fairness in our bones and marrow. By consciously binding ourselves to a tradition, we are instead constantly challenged about our own views about any given thing. Magic happens when we take the tradition seriously. I do see awakening happening without any particular tradition. And awakening itself does just happen. It's natural. It arises where it wants. Still, living into it, growing deeper, making a life with our discovery of our intimate boundlessness usually calls for alignment with a tradition. And this is where Zen enters the picture. But that's the book. Maybe you'll want to buy it. I hear there's a small fundraiser for the church if you do so today. For us here, a small invitation. And it's about this tradition. You know, Unitarian Universalism. The tradition that has humanism, Judaism, earth-centered, Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, Christianity, Taoism, and a whole host more. Circling around, informing, and our own deep roots in rationalism and naturalism, and the amazing mysticism, naturalistic mysticism of the transcendentalists, our own peculiar spirituality and its amazing history. Just noticing our hearts here in this context. Noticing our gathering, remembering our friends and their tragedy, remembering our tragedies, remembering our joys, alone and together. Meeting it. We don't have to meet it, the traditions literally, but we do need to take them seriously. We do that, and we may find our own awakening. We, each of us, can find our own individual discovery of what it means to see, to witness, to become one with the moon kissing the morning star. Maybe we can discover the flames descending in our own Unitarian, Universalist way and discover our own Pentecost. Amen.
It's time for us to take up our offering. All the information is up on the screen as to how we can contribute to our church. Of course, 50% of our contribution always goes to another group. Right now, we are sharing our tithing with Advocates for Trans Equality. So the ushers may come forward. Keon and Anthony will be leading us in Let It Be, and we'd like to dedicate that to Johnny. If we could rise in body or in spirit, our closing hymn is We Are the Heirs of Many Ages, number 102 in the gray hymnal.
Well, that was heavy. And what a call. It tells us, here are the words. There's the traditions. Where's the spiritual within the religion? What's the invitation? Where is the Pentecost? Where is the flame for us? Each of us gets to look within. We have sisters and brothers right now at a parade that's surrounded by hate. We have people standing up. I think a lot about policy and morality right now. I see the morality is we have to have borders. The policy is we have to have borders. The morality is we have to stand with our neighbor. How do we do this? We need to look deep. We need to find ourselves. We need to find ourselves standing, sitting, being with each other. When we come together into this community and just be together, when we are with each other, what I love in coming to church is I don't like half the people I sit with. But I find I love them all. And I find many of them who don't like me, they love me. Something emerges. There's some fire. There's some truth. There's some deep thing we can find in this gathering and the hundreds and thousands more gatherings that we have shared and will share in this moment. I can go on forever, and you're standing, and it's time to move on. But the Spirit calls, the flame calls. We're going to extinguish it here, but we carry it in our hearts. We carry it forward. May this be a blessing, a challenge, and an invitation. Let us depart in peace, but with just a hint of unrest. Amen.